some people may think that actually we paid you money, you need to do everything for the whole application. We still need to, to get that flow. We need those regular touch points. We need that input. We need, to be kept in the loop with externals, which could affect, the internals. Overthinking it can be a real issue, with the glamping, because it is a complete roller coaster of a ride to get in planning permission, but the rewards are astronomical. The rewards are huge once you get through it. So it's all about riding the wave. People have a vision in their head. They've been imagining it for years. They've had this idea. They've thought long and hard about it, and they know exactly what they want. And the council can, completely turn that on its head.
Hello and welcome to the Glampitect podcast. Today I'm joined by Jack Liddell, who's a client relations consultant here at Glampitect. Jack's role is to be the point of contact for our clients throughout the process, from when they first approach us to the feasibility study, to the planning application and eventually the site setup operation. Performing this role has given him a lot of insight into what clients can do to make the process smoother for all parties and effectively increase the chances of getting a glamping site off the ground. That's going to be the general theme of today's episode, which is going to be slightly different from the usual. You might be a client of ours or someone thinking of becoming a client of ours, and you might not be aware of some of the things you can do to give your glamping ambitions the best possible chances of success. You may even be someone who doesn't want to work with us, but is thinking of working with other glamping professionals, in which case this should prove useful to you as well. With that, I think we're ready to move on to today's episode. As ever, I hope you enjoy and find it valuable. Hi Jack, how you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks, Nick. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So you're the client relations consultant at Glampitect. Before we get into the topic of today's podcast, which is a sort of a look at what the ideal client is for us or for any other, glamping consultant or anything like that, because there are others out there, and we just want to speak to clients or potential clients about the kind of things that they can be doing to make the whole process a bit easier. So we're going to run through a few questions on that kind of topic, but just before we get into it, what's your sort of background and how did you end up working for Glampitect, and what do you actually do at Glampitect?
Yeah, absolutely. So, before starting at Glampitect, I was working in sales in New Zealand. I was working out of Queenstown and never done sales before. So basically started doing it, wasn't really getting it. And then it kind of clicked and flowed and got a bit of progression. I realised that actually I quite liked it. I liked the customer interaction. I liked, the day in, day out. I really just enjoyed it. And, having the people's best interests in mind, getting them what they wanted, because I saw the variety of different products, from trips to Australia, all over New Zealand, Fiji, bungee jumps, skydives, etc. But, making people's, holidays as best as I potentially could. I got a lot of satisfaction from that. So moved back to the UK when the pandemic hit, and was working at a completely different job at the time, and realised that actually I was kind of missing, kind of business to client stuff. And I literally just kind of came back and seen an opportunity of something completely new, completely different, but I could still kind of relate to my previous job. Trying to have the client's best interests in mind, and get them to where they need to be. And the opportunity at Glampitect came up, and I've never looked back. It's been great.
Yeah, were you aware of the glamping industry?
I was, yeah. As I say, I'd followed NC 500 pods for a while. I like the way that they were run, set up, and I did see that actually there's a big up and coming market, and there's really, there's a lot out there. And as I looked into it more and more, all the different styles and varieties and what's out there was all new to me, and it was really, really interesting. So yeah, it was a good choice getting into it.
And what's your day-to-day role at Glampitect then?
Yeah, my day-to-day role. So I am the client relationship consultant. So I will probably be speaking to most people who are interested, need help, have any queries, want to get started, set up, general information. So generally the process that, kind of help people through. So, finding a piece of land is obviously the main thing. It will generally help you through, get a feasibility study done on the land. This gives you a good judgment of character of what the land is going to be, and kind of all the steps through it. So, we look at your planning probability, and all that kind of stuff, construction challenges, demand competition, and your, financially, if it's going to be feasible. Based on that, we would get you through kind of, pre-planning and full planning. So I'll be advising on all that sort of stuff as well. I'm there to answer any questions you have specifically about your piece of land. If I'm not able to answer, we've got a really, really good design team behind us who will know the answer. Yeah, we do. We also help, set up website design, automated channel manager booking systems, which would be your best friend for when your site's up and running. And yeah, again, just advising, answering questions, and working out what works best for the clients. We've also got a marketing team behind us as well, and so we do, social media and content creation. We can help source pods, so I can connect you to, any manufacturers, any affiliates of ours, and even the marketing team as well. If you need hands, getting things off the ground and stuff like that. So yeah, basically I'm kind of here to help in kind of all areas of the field, and I would be your connect to any different departments. So whether you go for a feasibility study, connecting to feasibility design, connection to the design team, marketing and website, I'm the kind of that connect to each section.
Yeah, so a very client-facing role, and if a client does approach us, it's a good chance that they'll be assigned to you, and you can help them through the whole process, which we find is really helpful. Rather than having different people at different times, there's always you as a reference point that you can go back to. So that's why we brought you in for this episode, really, because obviously you are very client-facing, and the things that clients can do that really helps the process, and the not so good things that clients can do. We don't want this to be a lecture on what you need to do. If you're at Glampitect, this should be applicable for it. Maybe they don't want to go with us, maybe they want to work with another consultant or anything like that, but it's mainly just to help clients or other people's clients go through the process, make things easier for them, but make things easier for the people that they're working with, because it's a new process for them. Obviously we've got experience in doing it, but so sometimes they might need a little bit of advice about how to go through the process and make it as smooth as possible for both sides.
Yeah.
So just going straight into it then, what would you say makes the perfect client when working with a company like Glampitect to set up a glamping site?
A perfect client. So yeah, I would probably say, being, kind of making yourself available. It might sound really, really basic, but see, if you need some information of somebody, and there's a big delay, and you've emailed, text, or somebody's, say lost interest, or put their planning on the back burner, but hasn't told us. So we try to get the information from a client side of things, and people just switch off rather than just being honest and being upfront and saying, like, we're going to delay this for 6 months or whatever, which is what we'd obviously rather do, because then we can act accordingly, and it's not going to be on our subconscious to keep pestering somebody as such. If something, somebody's told you they want you to say sanction the feasibility study, but yeah, let's do that, perfect, send the documents over, everything's all good. And for something's happened in the background, and they don't want to continue with it anymore, but don't make us aware of that thing. That can be one of the trickiest things, because you don't want to be, from a client side of things. Like me personally, I'm very rapport. I like having people's best interests in mind. But having stuff outstanding doesn't sit very well with me. I like to keep on top of things, but also I don't want to chase people, and I don't want to be pushy or irritating. So when people just let me know, like, oh, by the way, I know we said we'd do this, but something's come up where the land fell through, or we're not in a financial position to do it, just tell us every time. Just let us know, and we'll. It's a lot easier for everybody, put it that way.
And so I imagine that feeds into both sides' responsibilities. We both have a responsibility to be open and communicate where we are at the process with each other. So as you say, if the client's gone cold a bit, then just let us know, and that's absolutely fine. Or exactly. On our end, if we're hearing good things or bad things from the council, then we'll relay that information to the client to make sure that we both know exactly where we're at. Are there any other sort of responsibilities that you think the client should have and that we should have to each other?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, particularly in the planning process, I think one of the main things is that it is a team effort. So obviously we aim to get clients through the process as efficiently as possible. I mean, we've got a great design team behind us, who will, we work really, really efficiently, really quickly, and put everything into the application. So everything from, the drawings, site layout plan, drainage plan, do all your visuals, your justification reports, market research documents, you name it. I would go all in, full out, but we need that, these verifications, these touch points with clients. And if somebody goes off grid, you say somebody goes on holiday for 2-3 weeks and doesn't tell us, That can cause delays. It can cause a little bit of disruption in a way. So it's just keeping us in the loop, like we would keep you in the loop. So if any changes, say a client needs to get, it does a percolation test, needs to change the drainage plan, and we make the client aware that, look, this is what we've got back, this is information, that we would make contact with the client straight away. So if anything changes that may affect their application, kind of in a vice versa sort of way, they should let us know as well, just to keep things in sync, because being in sync is it is important. So yeah, it's quite we aim to make the flow of the situation as efficient as we can and get you that planning, because that is the objective of the goal. But yeah, I think again, it's a team effort, rather than where some people may think that actually we've paid you money, you need to do everything for the whole application. We still need to get that flow. We need those regular touch points. We need that input. We need to be kept in the loop with externals, which could affect the internals.
And I think that's important to note as well, in terms of we're going to talk about this later on, about what clients need to be aware of going into the process, but it's not always completely and utterly smooth for the planning process. Sometimes a good scenario is where they'll say yes on certain conditions, which is obviously clients need to be aware that there will sometimes be extra conditions attached to an accepted planning proposal, like as I said, percolation testing or ecology surveys and all sorts. So it is probably our responsibility early on as well to communicate that might be a possibility, because it's not always just you can get planning, get crack on sometimes, and there'll be extra costs associated with those conditions and surveys as well. So that's something that probably needs to be communicated early. Again, I don't want to go over old ground, but is there anything in particular that clients can do to make the process run smoothly, and on our side as well?
Yeah, one piece of advice that I would say is don't overthink it too much. There's a lot of people that I've spoke to in the past that have kind of delayed, where they could have got the ball rolling 6 months ago just by not knowing if they want a pod or a shepherd's hut. Some decision like that. One advice I would give to everybody is just do whatever. Obviously we would do a feasibility study to assess any policies that may restrict how the application goes. So say if you're in like a special landscape area or a regional scenic area or something like that, you're not going to get planning permission for a converted shipping container with a glass front, but you might for a shepherd's hut. So it's all about at an early stage mitigating that risk and just narrowing down your options, and then going for the one that you want the most. And if the council don't like it, then if you are debating between the two, then you've got a plan B. Because overthinking it can be a real issue, with the glamping, because it is a complete roller coaster of a ride getting planning permission, but the rewards are astronomical. The rewards are huge once you get through it. So it's all about riding the wave and taking that first step into the planning. That's you committed, you're in, and everything else has figured itself out along the way. There's going to be roadblocks, there's going to be hurdles, but again, our design team, it's their bread and butter. It's day in, day out. It's what they do. It's try and mitigate risk and get people through it as efficiently as possible, and keeping everybody streamlined, just so that you don't go off course or whatever. So yeah, I think it's it can be, again, like I say, it can be a tricky process, but that's essentially what we're designed to do, is to we're that handheld service to get you through the process as efficiently as we can.
Yeah, and it will actually affect, really, if you dilly dally over a small thing like that, whether to go for a pod or a shepherd's hut, that you might think, oh, it's just a few months, but that's tens of thousands of pounds. If you get set up, if you can get set up at the start of the summer season, that's tens of thousands of pounds you're missing out on over a little decision like that. Of course, whether the decision of whether to go into glamping or not is a huge one, and we won't want to rush people into that, of course. But when we get into the nitty gritty details that really don't matter too much, like you say, the choice of the unit or things like that, that's where you probably need to just be making the decisions a bit quicker, so you can get through the process, especially if you're trying to aim to be open for the start of summer or spring or something like that, where you'll be getting the bookings in quite quickly. It doesn't matter so much, I suppose, at winter, but
yeah, for sure. That's the thing as well, is right now is the perfect, if you want to be open by spring next year, this is go time. And the reason being for that is, over the colder months, like over the winter, there can be things that happen, frost that would, it would stop the groundworks from going ahead. if we had a problem in the winter with snow, you can't do a tree survey, can't get to the sites, things like that. So it mitigates. Yes, I mean, we aim to get you through the planning to as high a standards as we possibly can and as quickly as we can. But there are going to be hurdles along the way. Whether this is council's been too busy to, on the website says, oh, we aim to get back to you in 4 weeks, and it becomes 10 weeks. Pre-applications are getting withdrawn every week from different councils. We're seeing a new one more and more frequently. So it just allows, getting moving. It just allows the process to start. And when we run into issues along the way, it gives us more time to, step back and think about it. And then when you get to that, say we do a planning application, we get it out the door in say 4 to 6 weeks, depending on changes. We do go through that process. We wait say 4 to 8 weeks to hear a response, do any amendments, conditions to get planning, we satisfy them, and then you've got planning approved by say later on in the year, October, November maybe. Then you've got the winter to start marketing your site. So marketing is the secret ingredient to being successful. The visuals that we do for our planning applications as well, you can use them to market, and we're there to kind of help get you through that as well, and tips of how to succeed before the site even exists. But over the winter you are going to have to do groundworks, and yes, there's going to be freezes, and yes, that could delay you. You could have boggy ground, you could have XYZ delays. So it just mitigates for not overthinking it and then not rushing it. You're going to get the site bang on, and you're still going to be able to be open for hit the ground running for spring. And the way that the glamping market is at the minute, there's absolutely no reason why over the winter, while you market it and get the site built, and you shouldn't be fully booked over the spring. And marketing is the secret ingredient to doing that.
Yeah, that was huge. We've spoken about it with Callum and Ali before, and a few episodes about how that helped them get a really strong launch when they started MC500 pods, and our clients are doing it as well. Braveview Glamping, who we spoke to in, I think it was episode 3, they've been marketing for ages and stuff, and they've just opened their site now up to booking. So hopefully they're doing well as well, and that certainly would have helped getting the marketing early.
Yeah, I think another thing as well that I was going to say is, we have a lot of people that come in and they see they get a quote for full planning or pre-planning, and they kind of, they just shut it down straight away and thinking, actually, that's, I've done a house extension for 1,500 quid. I know how much planning costs, but the justification needed to get holiday lets is far superior. And if you look at it from this sense, yes, we're £5,997 for up to 4 units, plus VAT. Now, say if we set you up to the best of our ability to get you that first footstep in the door, where you've got 4 units, and at the minute you easily even start with £150 a night if they're to spec. You've paid your investment off in 2 weeks, including the VAT. So there's a lot of obviously 2 weeks is a really, really quick time, and that will keep going and going and going, subject to your good marketing. So I think that obviously the initial, a lot of people initially see the price and think, oh, no way. But the work that goes into it, it's a long, long process, and we want to set people up for the best of their ability, because the standard and the quality of an application can really, really justify, how seriously a council take it as well. If you chuck in a couple of boxes on a piece of paper, there's far less likely to take your planning application seriously. So, by going in full, all in, straight away, but obviously mitigating the risk with a feasibility study first to get a good, good glamping perspective of how a successful glamping site would run on that specific piece of land. Based on the findings, either go down the pre-plan or full plan route. It's all about mitigating risk to get you that end goal, which is having a successful site open, bringing in a lot of money. I mean, I use this as an example for people. A standard, a good quality pod, you're going to buy for around about sort of 25 grand, so 25 grand mark. So you buy a pod for 25 grand, 65% occupancy at £135 a night. That's £30,800 for that unit, just one unit. So if you think the more units you have, even if you start with less and get planning for more, the money that you can make from a glamping site is phenomenal. It's absolutely incredible, and it's why so many people are getting involved. But yeah, I really think that it is the time to get in it.
Right, and so we've gone through quite a lot of things that clients can do if they want to be, the dream client for us or for anyone else that they're working with. but there are probably some things that we see that we don't want, and we'd recommend clients not to do when working with us. So could you just give us a run through of some of the kind of things that clients shouldn't be doing when they're working with us or other glamping professionals?
Yeah, I think, obviously Glampitect are a very, friendly, vibrant bunch. Like, it's a really, really good standard of staff that work for us. And we want to keep that vibe across the board with our clients. I think, when somebody, things go, I don't know, say we get a negative response from a council or whatever, and it's, somebody turns it around on the design team that it's their fault or something like that. That's absolutely what we don't want to be. Like, we are there to help. And, if something does come back negative, which it often it can, it's not about, pointing fingers. It's all about, regrouping and, how can we do to get this? Because the beautiful thing about glamping is it's flexible and adaptable. It's not like, you can chop and change. You can make it work. And yes, there's policies and things like that you need to stick by, but it's all about perspective and all about the angles and stuff like that. So if something doesn't go your way, it's don't take it out on the design team. Basically, just work with them and they'll work for you, and they will, together, everybody will come together, and because the objective and the end goal is to get that planning permission set up so that you can have the site of your dreams and make a crazy amount of money, for as long as you possibly can. But yeah, I mean, obviously being friendly and vibrant and just working with us. If you book a phone call for or a Zoom call for 2 o'clock on a Thursday, be punctual with that. Don't cancel it at 5 too. Sorry if something's came up. If there's going to be a cancellation, let us know in advance. Just keep things flowing. I think there's a lot of connects, and a lot of back and forward with what makes a good client, what makes a bad client. But again, quick responsiveness, from both sides. Like, we will aim to get back to you as quickly as we can with your queries, and we can expect the same. Like, if you are going to be away for a week, make us aware that you aren't away for that period of time, rather than us just keep chasing, because then the applicant, we've got kind of deadlines and targets to meet along the way. We have got an aim to get that out the door. If somebody doesn't get back to us quick enough, it kind of ruins the flow a bit. So yeah, as I say, just working it's a team effort. But again, we want to keep you on the straight line as possible, as streamlined as possible with the just the whole process. Because a lot of people come to us, and it is a roller coaster of a ride that not many people know kind of from the get go what it entails to get from where they are now to through the process. But yeah, teamwork and just having that connection. We'll have we've got a really, really good design team who will specifically work in the glamping industry, and that is their objective, is to we can tweak, adapt, amend.
What you said there about making sure clients are flexible going into it. So sometimes it's not the planners aren't going to give them the exact dream site that they wanted, and that's something that Ali, in both the episodes that he's been on, has said is really important. Obviously, in an ideal world, the site you initially brainstorm and get all excited about will be the one that gets through the planning process and that you set up. But you've got to be prepared going into the process that it might not be like that. The client, the council might request modifications. They might change it slightly. They might want to change it massively, and then it's up to you to decide whether you want to carry on or not. But yeah, it's interesting from your perspective how that the flexibility needs to also manifest itself in how you deal with us as well, because at the end of the day, it's the councils who are in charge. We do our best to get it through to the council and persuade them, but sometimes they're just steadfast in stopping something. So I think it is important to remember that sometimes it's just not us that's in charge. We try and do our best, but quite often, well, not quite often, but sometimes councils are just very stubborn and they'll just say no, or not unless you do this, and then that's up to you to decide how you go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's all about conditions of the council. I mean, I think you made a really good point there that Ali said in past podcasts, that the with the people have a vision in their head. They've been imagining it for years. They've had this idea. They've thought long and hard about it, and they know exactly what they want. And the council can completely turn that on its head. Somebody wants a shipping container site in a green belt. Somebody, there might be a council that's got a policy that's, there's too many pods. Anything like that can really flip it on its head. It can rock people quite a bit. So having options there as ammunition in the background can really help things. If you've got plan B, you've got plan C, to work with the council, but finding that middle ground with the council of compromise. You might have to make some sacrifices, but again, if it's going to get you there, it's definitely worth having a bit of a think about it, but not overthinking it. I think overthinking it kills a lot of glamping dreams as well. People that get so wound up and not knowing what they want that they've missed the whole season. Where you can be pulling in, even from 4 units, you can be pulling in 10 grand a month easily. Now, and every month, if you think you're going to do that, you've missed, say summer, you market correctly over the winter, you're booked out spring, summer, and even some of autumn. I mean, it's 50k for half a year that you'd be missing out at least. And it's just, it's all about not overthinking it, getting in the process and tweaking it as you go. And it just means that you're going to be open for business a lot quicker. You're going to have that cash flow coming in, and your return on investment is going to be paid off in really quickly. But yeah, and as well, like with all the planning stuff as well, if you need help with units and things like that, unit manufacturers and stuff like that, anything, we are there to help as well. We can appoint, we can put you in the right direction, we can connect you to people within the industry. We are there to help, and we will, we are more than willing to do it as often as you like.
Right. And final question. Let's say we've got a prospective client who's coming into the process, doesn't know much about glamping, but wants to set up a glamping site with us. What's one thing that you'd want them to bear in mind as they go into the process?
Bear in mind that, like I say, I know I probably sound like a broken record here, but don't overthink it too much. Just, once, a lot of people are just scared to take that first step. But once that first step's there, you've got our back in the whole way, the whole way. We're there to guide you, navigate you, give our recommendations as best as we can. We're there to support. We're there, you've got, the design team, you've got, a marketing team, we've got, client team as well, which can connect you to all of them. We've got feasibility study, we've got, anything that you need. We are there to help as best as we can. And our objective as a company is to get as many clients planning permission as we possibly can, and set them up to our best to give them that head start before it's even there. So that's pretty much us in a nutshell. Is that handheld service from concept to completion and beyond if need be. And we're more than happy to help anyone with any style of site, whether it's somebody wants a few bell tents, somebody wants a huge massive eco site, somebody wants shepherd's huts. We're there to support regardless of units. If you want a 1 unit Airbnb that needs planning permission to a 50 unit site, we have the capability and capacity to do so.
Perfect. And if anyone wants to get in touch and maybe ask you a few questions, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we can get in touch through our website. We've got, as I say, we've got 3 of us in the clients team who will be more than happy to help as best as we can. There's email links. You can email contact@glampitect.co.uk. You can email myself at jack@glampitect.co.uk. Our phone numbers and stuff are on the website as well. We've also got a list of all our staff members and things like that. But essentially, we are we would be the client facing group who would be there talking to you. And if anybody wants to, feel free to give us a call, pick our brains. I'd be more than happy to run things by us, get suggestions, recommendations. As I say, we are more than happy to help as often as you like.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thank you for coming on, Jack, and I'll let you get back to working with your clients.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks for that, Nick.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Glampitect podcast. I hope you enjoyed and that you found value in today's episode. If you did, feel free to leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, as it really helps us move up the podcast rankings. Thank you.